Hello, the doc is in, and welcome back to another video with your local physician. Today, we're discussing something that I did not realize we did not discuss. You're a citizen in the city, and you want to move up from just being a victim. But also, you don't want to necessarily do it the technically legal way. Anything's legal. Regardless, though, you want to join a gang. One of the 5 fingers. Which one is the best to join? And that's a video. Okay. All right, let's get right into it. First up, our usual outlier is going to throw off the list. So it's not a top 5, it's a top 4. And our outlier is the pinky. So we know very little about the pinky, as is just obvious. And one thing we really don't know about is how their members are split up. We know about the 108 water margins, and we know about the stars and the blades, more or less, kind of full. So how do you join? Not a clue. It seems to have something to do with you receive one of the weapons, and once you master them, you can join. Great. Okay. Like, is that the traditional way people do it, or is there like meeting? Not a clue. Then we would then step up to, okay, so what about lower ranking? Not a clue. We do understand that there's a thing, like there is some kind of apprenticeship affiliate level. We look at Ren as our example. He's not a member of the Pinky, but we can kind of use him as an example of like, okay, this is probably more or less what it looks like if you're intending to become a high-ranking member of the Pinky, then you probably start more or less like him. I would subsequently say you, average citizen, are not Ren.
You can take
Okay?
6
You're not
feet.
that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy. Okay.
You may have a better haircut than Ren, but you are not going to be as good as Ren, because clearly this guy was in the lab, in the training room, working hard. All right, that guy could really get down with the best of them. Okay, you, average citizen, no augmentations, no secret abilities, no access to special tech, nothing. You're just probably not joining, which is why the Pinky's the lowest, or rather, not on the list. Now let's actually start the list. Our lowest rank. You do not want to join the Thumb. I feel like this one was kind of obvious. You should have seen this coming. Thumb. They're very serious about their rankings. All right, everything's about respect and respecting the hierarchy. Okay, who do you not want to be in a system like this? The lowest ranking guy. It doesn't take too much to figure out that, hey, in a city and in a situation where your higher ups normally could just abuse you because they're just stronger than you, have more access to things than you, whatever. When you're literally under a system where if you speak at a turn, you are liable to have to cut your own tongue out of your mouth if you don't want to get it worse from your boss or whoever your superior is, that sucks. All right. Don't even get me started on last video with the drip. The drip looks nasty, all right? They got you wearing the crappy fit. You know, you can't even stylize it or nothing, because that might be seen as disrespecting the hierarchy and disrespecting the Thumb in general, because you're not wearing your uniform properly. So you already know that's going to be bad, right? Beyond that, even thinking about just the overall superiors, you think like, okay, maybe just at my lowest level, you know, these guys aren't too unreasonable, generally speaking. No, I get to join a powerful organization. I get a weapon, probably training, money. It's that bad. You can't even talk amongst the people at your own rank, a fellow soldado, really, because there are rankings within the soldados. Okay, it's just a lot. It's just a lot. Not only that, but also growing in rank, chances are that's not really happening either, as systems like these IRL generally are dependent on who your boss is. If you have a cool superior, chances are as long as you are exemplary, you can probably rise in the ranks. But let's say you have a crappy superior, like a certain Valencina, you're probably getting put through a meat grinder, and then they're gonna laugh at your corpse. Like, it's just not. Being a soldado probably sucks really bad. And that's why it's the worst. Now, Next up, I'm gonna go with X. This one, I feel like it's relatively simple why it comes in third. Proselytes basically just join up by getting a prescript that says you're joining. That's it. So if you live in an area protected by the index, one day you're just gonna be a proselyte. You're gonna work under a proxy and you're gonna follow them around and you're just gonna be learn the ropes as you get along. Sounds pretty straightforward, sounds pretty good. Over time, as you gain the ropes, you will gain fabric on that flowy cloak to signify that you're getting better, and then eventually you will probably become a proxy. Now, why they're third really just boils down to the prescripts. Prescripts can be anything. Thing is, especially now that you're a member, you really gotta do your prescripts. I mean, you always have to do them. You get a prescript, and someone probably got a prescript. If you got a prescript and you didn't do it, someone else probably got a prescript to kill you. Unless that was what the gods intended, at which point you probably get away with it. Regardless, though, as a proselyte, you're even more serious about it. You're also immediately around people who would probably have to kill you if you didn't do your prescript. So now you gotta really do them. On the other hand, we also know prescripts can sometimes be interesting. They might require you to kill a baby. They might just require you to go stand outside for a couple of minutes. They could require you to cut off both your opposable thumbs. It could really be anything, is the point. You're required to do them, which makes being a part of the index as lowest ranking member kind of like it can be a real roll of the dice. Either the gods want you to win or they do not. And that's what it boils down to. So it can be kind of decent. It's not inherently bad, but chances are it's going to end up bad because, again, just a random citizen. Who are you really being protected by the gods? You and me. Third. Next up, I'm going to go with Ring. The Ring. Surprisingly, despite their seeming sadism and insanity, you would join up as a student. Your responsibilities: make art on a regular basis and gradually improve over time, as well as do the jobs/tasks given to you by your superiors, docents, or maestros. Not too bad. Oh, and also you're required to grade the artwork of regular civilians now that you are a student of the Ring. It's generally, seemingly, not too bad. As long as you're artistic and that's just your vibe, you will more than likely excel in some capacity in this role. You'll be fine. You're doing artwork all the time. Is it kind of grotesque or crazy artwork? Yeah, but again, you're joining the Ring. You kind of know what you're getting up to, okay? Come on, it's the Ring. Regardless, too bad. You're under protection. You get access to technologies. Overall, decent. Reason why it hits number 2 instead of number 1 is you are required to do the tasks of docents and maestros. This does not mean that you're going to get tasks that are inherently really bad. This isn't the same as the prescripts where it's like, hey, the task you're being given, it's really a roll of the dice whether it's really bad, something you couldn't even figure out how to do, or something extremely easy that you're just like, oh, lucky day. Docents and maestros can range. They probably, if I had to guess, it probably revolve around getting materials, visiting certain areas, getting like an inspiration for them, maybe gathering photos, so on and so forth. Something of the sort. You're all artists, okay? What do you think, an important artist is gonna ask their student or their underling? Stuff of that sort, right? And maybe a little mix of come get this guy, go get this guy, maybe kill this guy, whatever. Average stuff to be seen in the city, not too bad. But there's always a chance that you could get something, get a job that's kind of impossible. You're also on time limits, and it seems to be punishments and you don't meet the time limits, which is fair. But then that says that's a little bit of danger attached, which is why being a student isn't the worst. It debatably isn't even that bad. But it could be bad too. Leaving the middle at number 1. And I simply have to say, it could be interchanged with the Ring. The middle, family. Being treated well by your higher ups, not necessarily quote unquote, having to do anything crazy at any given point. And as long as you're with your family, you're probably chilling. That said, we do know that as a little brother or sister of the middle, you are required to do vengeances. You probably join up in packs with your other siblings to go handle people, okay? As we know, right? You know, us playing as Dante in the Sinners, we have killed so many little siblings of the middle, and that's where it gets tricky. You see, on average, I would argue that your average situation your little sibling has to get into to, avenge they got partaking is probably against a random civilian, no tech, no tattoos, no special technologies, nothing. You beat them up real bad, maybe kill them, whatever you need to do. You get a tattoo, you're now stronger, easy situation to take care of. You and your siblings are having a great time, probably partying after you just complete your first vengeance. Great time. And chances are that's probably most of the situations you get into. Probably get a good number of tattoos off of that. And then one time, it only takes one. The big sibling's like, bro, sis, slaps you on the back. There's this guy who bumped into me and he got mud on my fur coat. We gotta go get him and his whole house. You're like, of course, bro, I got you. You pull up on the guy and his house. He turns out to be, let's say, a grade 2 fixer, maybe grade 3. But he's a member of an association, right? He has an office, he's working there. And this whole office is like, yeah, you're not running up in here. And then now you go to war with them, right? You being a little sibling, maybe you got 1 or 2 tattoos, you accidentally become someone's power scaling feat. All right, you get sliced in half, you die instantly. Now your feet on the floor, right, dead. And that was it for you. You just got very unfortunate that your big sibling needed your help, and of course you lock in for the family. You go and you die. That was your purpose, to show up and be a meat shield. Not even a meat shield, but just to be a dead body on the floor, to be like, the middle came down on you. You see the problem? The middle is pretty good overall, and I would say on average, it's probably really easy to be a little sibling of the middle. It probably isn't even that hard to become the next level higher, a young sibling, because again, you just gotta complete more vengeances. So if you're moving around and stuff, you're ending up in situations where you gotta go do vengeances, going with your other siblings to do little siblings. So you do vengeances, you guys keep on succeeding, you're probably growing. Until you get unfortunate enough to have picked a fight with the wrong person and you get done nasty. And so you could kind of switch it out with the ring, but chances are the middle is better. Also, not only that, but also just another thing to add, you can never leave the middle. The middle never forgets. You can't leave unless you die or I seemingly get rid of everything relating to the middle, which, as we've seen with a certain whaler, is really, really hard to do, especially if you've been there for a while. So, just in consideration, this is the number 1 spot. I know you're probably going to want to join the middle, get the nice drip, get the chains going and everything, get the nice book, the Book of Vengeance. Just remember that's a life contract. Seemingly as well, with that being said about the middle, it seems like you also could leave the other fingers if you ever felt so inclined. Maybe there's some kind of cost that comes along with it. The point is, you maybe could leave with less issues than the middle. So just, at those lower ranks, maybe you might just want to join, see how it is, and then leave, Be like, hey, I'm not really into this, this gang life isn't really for me. I gotta go. Considerations, I'm trying to help you out as your local physician. I'm just trying to let you know which finger is the best to join. And now you know. And that's it for the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Watch more videos, like, subscribe, you guys get the deal. And until the next one, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.